very much, Philomene. As she says, she's a member of the union, and we hope she stay a member and pay up her dues. Yes. So, I want to welcome all of you here today. I want to welcome the ILO representative, Mr. Pierre. We have here with us also our president of the National Trade Union Congress, Natuk, is here, Mr. Anisette, and I'm pleased to know that he is coming here to show some solidarity and support for domestic workers, and we hope to hear something from him later on. Well, as I said, good afternoon to everyone here. And I forget to say good afternoon to the Ministry of Labor officials who are here with a display, because we're talking about decent work, so we must know about the laws that govern the work that we are doing, and we must also be able to, we must read these laws, we must know, because we want to know what is our rights. And in order to exercise your rights as a worker, you must know it. And that is why we ensure, and all our workshops, anything that we have, any event, we always ensure that there is information for workers so that they can educate themselves. Not only going in a classroom is education, all this is education for workers. So on behalf of the executive of NUD, I want to welcome everyone who has taken time off from their busy schedule, because this is Friday evening. I know it's a time when everybody wants to go out, you want to drink a little beer, you want to hang out with your friends, because whole week of working, and then now we have curfew, you have to run inside early, so the littlest chance you get, you want to be with friends to hang out. So I want to thank you all for coming out here and supporting the National Union of Domestic Employees. Now, we all know today is World Day for Decent Work. And we want to use this day to make our clarion call for government to ratify the ILO Convention, which is supplemented by a recommendation, and we want it ratified now. Now, this ILO Convention 189 concerns decent work for domestic workers. And it is very important because it has only come after decades of struggling to get the rightful place for domestic workers in the world of work. As Clotel Walcott said, she was the founding, deceased Clotel Walcott, she was the founder of this union together with Brother James Lynch, who is also deceased, and Sir Lisha Hossain. They were in the forefront with this trade union, when nowhere else was thinking about a trade union for domestic workers. She had a vision to bring domestic workers up in line as all other workers. And people used to find, what she talking about? Because even when Clotel got an award for her work in trade unionism, a national award, people were saying, why they give Clotel that award? What trade union? Because people couldn't see the vision. And today, after fighting, not only in Trinidad and Tobago, but regionally and also internationally, we were able to win with other trade unions and NGOs. We were able to win a convention for domestic workers. That was history in the making. Now, the provisions in the conventions, which we were a part of, the comrade Carla Walcott and myself, and we had another sister from Jamaica, who I was responsible for getting the both of them to that Geneva conference. We had to work hard. When Carla here, I go in conference, she always thinking, well, she must feel like going to Lyme. But when she come and she see work, it had a day she say, I can't make it today, no, either. I can't make it. Because we had what to go and negotiate. From morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes we remain at 10, 11 o'clock in the night. And you cannot move. Because you're negotiating and you're expecting any minute the employers will call for a vote to see whether or not we will get that convention. So we have to be there, you know. And all of us, my sisters, from all over the Latin American countries, Africa, all over Asia, we make up the International Domestic Workers Network. And we work very hard in trying to gain protection for domestic workers. So it was a big thing there when we won this ILO convention. We stood up in the galleries of the ILO, and the ILO is a kind of conservative place, and we just threw down our banner. Congratulations for Convention 189. And we started to make noise, because remember, as grassroots people, you know, we don't care, we make a noise anywhere. So they had to run outside and say, "Oh, you hush all your mouth," and this and that. So the director came out and he said, "No, leave them, leave them." And everybody just toned down, and we were able to rejoice and sing songs from Africa and all over the world. We were singing. We were even hymning to the Latin America, singing the Spanish tunes. Si se puedo and all this. I don't even understand what they're talking about, but it was great. I know it had to do something with victory. So the provisions in the conventions eventually, these provisions make the words decent work mean something, especially for living domestic workers. Because they often work with they have no stipulated hours of work. They're always on call, especially where they're hired to provide services such as childcare or care for the aged, the sick, or the disabled. These workers work round the clock. The baby get up, call the domestic worker. Something happened with the old man or the old woman in the house, call the domestic worker. And the ILO convention also makes provisions for on-call work, because we have workers right here in Trinidad who work on call, but they in more professional job. But what I want to say, this domestic work is a very professional job, you know, because I and all can do it. This is a very hard work. My sister is a domestic worker, and sometimes when she come and I say, "Paul, do this," the way she will turn and she will capsize the house in few minutes and do work. I can't do that, because she used to take care of her old woman. And one day Pearl wasn't around, and the old woman who lived near to us calling, "Ida Pearl, Ida Pearl." I went to see what happened to Miss Darden, an old neighbor lady in the neighborhood. When I reached by Miss Darden wanted to turn, and I could not turn Miss Darden. I hold Miss Darden all her, and I bigger than Pearl, I in size. Try to turn Miss Darden, I cannot turn Miss Darden. I call the neighbor, Miss Catherine. I say, "Come and help me with Miss Darden." Anybody I see in the road calling them, "Come and help me turn Miss Darden." Because Miss Darden bawling, she cannot lie down there again, she want to turn. We could not do it. And when Pearl comes, she just make a flip, so flip and flip over Miss Darden. So domestic work is a skill, and people don't want to recognize that. So we must recognize that this work that domestic workers doing is skill work, it's professional work, and it's not everybody could do it. But because we are women, they feel by nature you will be able to do that. But it's not so. And what we don't understand too, we have a lot of men who is domestic workers here in Trinidad, because they work as gardeners in people's home. They work as chauffeur. And what the act says is that anybody who works in and around the house and paid by the householder is a domestic worker. So even when these men come to the union and seeking representation and all that, and I tell them, "Well, you're a domestic worker," they don't want to hear that. As a handyman, I say, "Yes, but under the law, you're a domestic worker." So you see, there's a kind of stigma with respect to domestic workers. Like if this work is so low, but yet the whole of society depending on this work. And domestic workers themselves must stand up and recognize and value what they are doing. Because when domestic workers come to us, and somebody call them, they want a domestic worker, because sometimes people call to us, they want to find out how much to pay a domestic worker, or even sometimes they might call and they want a domestic worker. Because what we have started to do now, we forming a cooperative to offer these same skills to people. You know, you want a domestic, call the union, you get a domestic, yes, so that all the resources will remain into this cooperative to help domestic workers, to ensure domestic workers' national insurance is paid, because that is a big, big problem that we have with regards to national insurance. They don't pay your national insurance. They don't give you no pay slip. And when you go by the National Insurance Board, they say, how long you working? I work in 10 years. Bring something to show. You have to show evidence. You have nothing. Right? So what we encourage domestic and other workers too. Because mind you, domestic workers covered under the minimum wages order, and we have provisions such as sick leave, we have vacation leave, we have overtime pay, and things like that. So we have the same kind of provisions as other low-income workers who might work in a store, the catering industry, even the security guards who work so hard. So we up in line in a way, but the main thing is recognition for domestic as workers. And we're not stopping until government amend the Industrial Relations Act to include domestic workers. They must be recognized as workers. Please.